If she starts giving you this, most men don't realize the battle is already over, and the reason they miss it is exactly what I'll help you see today. Stay with me until the end, because one small shift in how you show up can quietly change everything. And if conversations like this help you think more clearly about your relationships, take a second to like the video and subscribe. It tells me this work matters to you. Now let me slow this down, because this isn't about tricks, tactics, or chasing validation. What I'm talking about is subtle, quiet, almost invisible if you were never taught how connection actually forms. When a woman begins to give you something that cannot be forced, negotiated, or demanded, it signals something profound. It means her nervous system feels safe around you. It means her guard isn't up. It means she's no longer scanning for control, pressure, or performance. And no, this has nothing to do with attention, affection, or how often she texts you. The thing she gives, often without realizing it, is emotional permission. Emotional permission is when she stops trying to manage how you see her. She doesn't curate herself around you. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't test you with confusion or mixed signals. She simply exists and allows you to exist too. This is where many men get confused. They think winning means being impressive, being desired, being chosen. But psychologically, what creates real bonding isn't admiration, it's relief. Relief from tension, relief from having to perform, relief from uncertainty about whether you're safe to be real with. When she starts giving you that relief, she's already made a decision internally, not about commitment or labels, but about trust. And trust always comes before desire deepens. You'll notice it in the way conversations change. She doesn't fish for reassurance. She doesn't provoke reactions. She speaks more plainly. There's less emotional noise, less drama, less proving. She's no longer trying to win you over or protect herself from you. And here's the part most men miss. This doesn't happen because you said the right things. It happens because of who you are when nothing is happening. Your steadiness, your emotional self-control, your ability to listen without fixing, chasing, or withdrawing, your comfort with silence, your lack of urgency to define or force outcomes. From a psychological perspective, this signals leadership at the nervous system level. Not dominance, not control, leadership. The kind that says, you don't have to be on edge here. I can handle myself. When a woman senses that, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, she gives you access. Not to her body, but to her inner world. That's the real win. And once that door opens, the dynamic shifts in ways most men never expect. When she starts giving you emotional access, the power dynamic quietly equalizes, and that's where real attraction stabilizes. Not spikes, not anxiety-driven intensity, stability. And I want you to understand why this matters, because many men unintentionally sabotage this phase without realizing what they're holding. Emotional access shows up as transparency without pressure. She shares thoughts that aren't polished, feelings that aren't dramatic, concerns without accusation. This isn't because she suddenly became more open. It's because she senses you won't collapse, react defensively, or make her emotions about your worth. Psychologically, this is huge. Most women are used to monitoring men emotionally, gauging reactions, softening truths, anticipating insecurity. When she stops doing that with you, it means she no longer sees you as fragile or volatile. She trusts your emotional spine. And here's the mistake many men make at this point. They try to reward openness with intensity. More talking, more reassurance, more emotional disclosure than the moment can hold. But emotional access doesn't need to be matched. It needs to be held. Think of it like this. When someone hands you something fragile, you don't squeeze it to show appreciation. You steady your hands. Your calm presence becomes the container. You listen without interrupting. You respond without over-explaining. You acknowledge without absorbing. This communicates something very specific to her subconscious. I can sit with truth without being destabilized. That's when attraction deepens in a grounded way. Another sign she's giving you, this is that she stops testing your reactions. Early on, many women unconsciously test consistency. pulling back slightly, expressing uncertainty, watching how you respond. When those tests fade, it's because she no longer needs data. She's already seen enough. This doesn't mean she's emotionally dependent. It means she's emotionally comfortable. And comfort doesn't kill attraction. Uncertainty, handled poorly, does. You see, attraction isn't sustained by tension alone. It's sustained by trust paired with polarity, calm confidence paired with presence, emotional availability paired with boundaries. When you don't rush to define the relationship, but also don't disappear. When you don't demand closeness, but don't avoid it either. When you're warm without being consuming. That balance tells her something vital. You're not here to take from her emotional world. You're capable of standing beside it. This is why self-regulation matters more than charm. Why restraint outperforms pursuit. Why grounded men feel rare, not because they're aloof, but because they're internally organized. If she's giving you emotional access, your job isn't to secure it. It's to remain the man who made it safe to offer. And when you do that consistently, something shifts inside her that can't be faked, rushed, or talked into existence. There's a quiet turning point that happens when a woman gives you emotional access, and it's almost imperceptible if you're not paying attention. You won't notice it in grand gestures or dramatic words. You'll notice it in the small pauses, the little reveals, the moments where she shows she trusts you with her inner landscape. This is the stage where most men misunderstand what they've won. They think it's about possession, labels, or proof of affection. But what she's giving you isn't about ownership. It's about alignment. It's about comfort in your presence, clarity in your intentions, and a subconscious recognition that you're capable of handling her without needing to be perfect, performative, or reactive. You'll start to see it in the way she communicates. She shares frustrations without guilt tripping. She expresses joy without needing validation. She can sit with vulnerability without testing your patience. And every time she does this, she's giving you something that can't be earned through persuasion, charm, or conquest. It can only be created through consistent emotional reliability. Reliability is the invisible magnet here. It's not about texting first or showing up with gifts. It's about your steadiness, your emotional boundaries, your ability to remain centered even when she's not. She's watching. Every small act of consistency, every moment you resist the urge to overreact or overreach, reinforces that safe space. And here's a critical nuance. This doesn't mean you become passive. You don't stop leading. You don't stop having a clear direction in your life. On the contrary, leadership at this level is quiet but firm. It's about holding your energy steady so she can show up authentically, not performatively. That steadiness feels rare, and psychologically, it makes her want to lean in. You might also notice her language changing. Fewer qualifiers, less hedging, fewer tests in conversation. That doesn't mean she's disinterested. It means she's no longer evaluating you consciously. She's already decided, on a subconscious level, that you're safe. That decision is far more powerful than any deliberate declaration she might make. And when you understand this, it changes the way you show up. You no longer chase. You no longer pressure. You no longer react to the small uncertainties in communication. You become the calm center in her emotional world. That's the kind of presence that deepens connection in a way nothing else can. This is what most men never notice because it's invisible to anyone who's only thinking in terms of getting her. Emotional access is not a trophy. It's a responsibility, a signal that she's inviting you into a space few men are equipped to hold. When you grasp this, you stop trying to impress her. You stop trying to perform for her attention. Instead, you become the man who earns something far more valuable, her relaxed, authentic presence. And that is a subtle victory few men even recognize they can achieve. Once she's offering you this level of emotional access, something else begins to unfold. A subtle but profound shift in her behavior that most men completely miss. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It doesn't happen in big statements or grand gestures. It happens in the little things. How she pauses before reacting, how she listens without defensiveness, how she lets you speak your truth without feeling the need to correct, debate, or manipulate. This stage is where the relationship either deepens or stagnates, and it all comes down to one principle: presence. Your presence becomes the anchor. When she sees you reacting with calm assurance, she feels an unspoken permission to lower her own walls. She's no longer protecting herself emotionally. She doesn't have to perform, test, or measure every word and action. And psychologically, this is where real attraction solidifies. Notice how she interacts with you now. She might start sharing minor frustrations from her day, small fears, or doubts she would have kept to herself before. She might express opinions that are not popular or expected, simply because she trusts that you won't judge her for them. This is incredibly powerful because it's rare for anyone to feel this level of safety. Emotional safety is invisible, but it creates a magnetic pull that you cannot fabricate. It has to be earned through consistency and calm leadership. And here's an important point most men fail to grasp. This is not about chasing or pushing for closeness. It's about holding your ground while she leans in. If you overcompensate, try to become her savior, or overwhelm her with your own emotions, you disrupt the delicate balance she's offering. She's giving you access to her inner world, not a blank check to take control or fix things. You'll also notice she begins to mirror your emotional regulation. When you remain steady under pressure, she relaxes even more. When you handle disagreements with composure instead of reactivity, she begins to trust you on a deeper level. The nervous tension that once existed between you dissipates, and what replaces it is subtle, steady connection, the kind that lasts far longer than passion driven by drama or uncertainty. At this point, many men make the mistake of rushing. They confuse comfort with complacency. They think, if she's giving me access, I need to escalate, define, or secure commitment immediately. But that's exactly where men lose the very thing she's offering. Emotional access is fragile. It thrives in an environment where patience, consistency, and quiet confidence dominate. When you understand this, you realize the true victory is not in what she says or how often she engages with you. The victory is in the state you create, a state where she feels safe, understood, and free to be herself. And that state, once established, becomes the foundation for attraction, intimacy, and long-term connection that no manipulative tactic could ever replicate. You'll start to notice her priorities shift naturally. She seeks your presence, values your perspective, and trusts your judgment. And all of this happens without you asking for it, demanding it, or orchestrating it. It's a direct result of your own emotional mastery, and it's the ultimate signal that you've already won her trust on a level most men never reach. As she begins giving you this level of trust and openness, you'll notice another transformation, one that's even subtler but deeply revealing. Her energy around you changes. There's less tension, less testing, less measure twice, act carefully. She no longer calculates every interaction or scans for hidden motives. Her presence becomes lighter, more relaxed, and even her body language reflects this shift. This is crucial because attraction at its deepest level is not about intensity or drama. It's about ease. Ease signals safety. Safety signals reliability, and reliability signals a rare type of leadership that most men never cultivate. When she feels this with you, she starts to orient her attention toward you naturally, not because she's forced, but because she perceives you as someone capable of holding space, not just for her, but for herself. Another way this shows up is in her communication patterns. She begins to speak more directly, without subtle tests or hidden meanings. She doesn't need to provoke reactions or observe your responses to gauge your intentions. This is her way of saying, without words, I trust you. And trust is the rarest form of attraction. Most men chase desire, but desire without trust is volatile. It burns bright and fades fast. Trust, on the other hand, sustains and deepens over time. And here's the psychological insight many men overlook. When she offers this, she's assessing not just what you do, but who you are when no one is watching, when nothing is at stake. Emotional consistency, calmness under pressure, the ability to listen without judgment, and the refusal to overreact, these qualities create the environment where a woman can lower her defenses. You may also notice that she begins to value your presence more than your words. She pays attention to your energy, how you carry yourself, your patience, and your ability to stay grounded even when conversations get uncomfortable. This is why being calm, deliberate, and measured isn't just attractive, it's magnetic. It communicates that you're someone she can rely on emotionally, which is far more compelling than charm, gifts, or persuasion. At this stage, many men feel an urge to step up in ways that disrupt the natural flow. They try to accelerate closeness, overcommit, or overanalyze her behavior. But the real power is in restraint. Let her continue giving freely. Let her continue revealing herself without pressure. Your role is to hold the space steadily without forcing outcomes. Because here's the truth, she's not giving this to every man. She's giving it to you because of who you are, not what you say or do. And when you understand this, you stop chasing, stop performing, and start embodying a kind of calm confidence that naturally sustains attraction. The moment you see this, you realize that winning her heart isn't about games or strategies. It's about presence, patience, and emotional steadiness. And when you achieve that, you've won something far more valuable than fleeting attention. You've won access to her authentic self. At this point, you may start noticing even deeper signs, moments where she's showing not just trust, but emotional alignment. She starts letting you into her world in ways that aren't forced or performative. The small things, sharing her thoughts spontaneously, laughing at your humor without pretense, telling you what she truly wants or doesn't want, these are all signs that she's comfortable enough to be authentic. And authenticity is one of the clearest indicators that you've already won her trust. This stage is delicate because it's when subtle mistakes can undo weeks of progress. Many men, upon seeing these signs, feel the urge to accelerate intimacy, to define the relationship too quickly, or to seek validation for the connection. But when she's giving freely, when she's showing vulnerability without prompting, your job is not to chase or overcompensate. It's to remain steady, consistent, and grounded. Your calm presence is the container that allows her authenticity to continue. Psychologically, what's happening here is profound. She is assessing your consistency under conditions of comfort. She's watching how you respond when she lowers her walls, and whether you remain the man you were when walls were up. If you stay steady, she experiences a sense of safety and alignment that can't be rushed. She doesn't have to question her instincts or second-guess her feelings. She begins to trust her own judgment in relating to you. Another clear sign she's giving you this access is that she stops testing you unconsciously. Early on, many women do small things to measure patience, emotional control, or reliability, pulling away slightly, raising minor conflicts, or being ambiguous in their communication. When these tests fade, it's not coincidental. She has already observed your stability, and her nervous system is now relaxed enough to stop evaluating. That's the point most men miss. They think they need to keep proving themselves, when in reality, the proof has already been given through consistent presence. You'll also notice a shift in energy around disagreements or tension. She might voice frustrations or discomfort more openly, without defensiveness or passive aggressiveness. This is her way of signaling that she feels safe enough to be honest without fear of destabilizing the connection. When you respond with composure, without overreacting or trying to control outcomes, you reinforce the very dynamic that drew her to you in the first place. At this stage, your reward is subtle but profound. She's giving you access to her emotional world, and it's no longer about testing, posturing, or proving. She's showing you who she truly is. And psychologically, this is the point where deeper attraction, alignment, and long-term potential quietly cement themselves, not through words, but through the consistency of presence you've cultivated. The men who recognize this and honor it without trying to manipulate or accelerate it become rare. And rare is magnetic. That's the difference between chasing her attention and naturally holding it through your own calm, steady presence. When she's giving you this, you've already reached a level of connection most men only dream of. Now, if you've noticed all of this, the calm, the openness, the subtle ways she shows up, you're witnessing something most men never truly recognize. She's not offering this level of trust and emotional access to every man. She's giving it to you. And that means, in a very real sense, you've already won. But winning here is not about possession, control, or validation. It's about responsibility. It's about understanding the gravity of the trust she's offering. When a woman gives this freely, she's signaling that she feels safe, seen, and understood. She's no longer performing or guarding herself. Your presence has created a container where she can be fully authentic. And how you carry yourself now, your consistency, your steadiness, your calm, matters far more than anything you could say. Many men misread this comfort as complacency. It isn't. It's a profound sign that she no longer needs to protect herself, that she trusts you with her emotional world. When you honor that, stay grounded and resist the urge to chase or manipulate. The bond deepens naturally. This is the silent victory most men never see, but now you do.